clicked on this and you don't know what the game is, it's called fish fighting. You can imagine it like Item Asylum, but every weapon is fish. There are currently 5 different game modes and now 7 different maps to play through, and more than 20 fish with unique abilities to play with. In this update I added a lot of new stuff, so let's get right into it. First new thing is the cosmetics shop, and here you can purchase cosmetics for all different kinds of fish. Although most of the time I spent on this was just spent setting it up and not actually making cosmetics. So currently the only cosmetics for the game are 6 different ones for longfish, which are just different colors, that being red, green, pink, yellow, orange, and teal. And then of course I gave the stingray a top hat for the 7th one. But of course now that it's set up, cosmetics are much easier to add. To swap between cosmetics, you just click on the fish you have equipped again and it'll swap cosmetics. Next thing added is we have these sinkholes on the swap map. This is another map hazard similar to the ones we added previously. We also added one to the shop map, which is security clankers. They spawn every 30 seconds and they have less health and damage than regular clankers, so they're just kind of there to be an annoyance. The biggest thing added here is the wasteland map, which right now is rather simple, but I have plans to improve it in the future. Of course, you got this little tower, a nice little campfire, rusty cars, last but not least, a pool of nuclear waste with the nuclear fish around it. A nuclear fish is a new rented fish, which if you don't know what that system is, it basically allows you to pay money for a one-time use of a fish. This one's pretty basic. You just use it, has one ability, and it just explodes. Of course, if you've played Item Asylum, you know this is inspired by the Bobbum item. Now I know again it's not much, but I'm trying to add some more content and we'll get to refining some of this stuff at a later date. Now onto a lot of the quality of life stuff. First of all, the point leader now has a gold outline around them to showcase who's winning, and this is basically so you can target them and make sure they don't win in the end. Yeah, I know, great system, right? Also added debris to certain slam attacks just to give the game a bit more feel, make it a little more interactive. And I also made it so that the skybox changes depending on which map is active. So again, improves the feel of the game and just makes the aesthetic a lot better. In addition to that, ult now persists after death, so if you get halfway to ult and then die and you keep your fish, you can then get it on your next life. However, if you change fish, it resets back to 0, just so you can't, get it on one and then switch to another, you know what I'm saying. And lastly, the rented fish are reduced to only 100 per fish, partially because nuclear fish just explodes, but that's a whole other thing. Of course, there'll be a link to the game in the description. I know this was kind of went through all this quick, but Next update, we mainly focused on viewer suggestions, so if you have any suggestions for the game, cosmetics, new fish, anything, leave a comment, let me know. I'll be adding as much as possible in the future.